All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Michigan PR Group. It is tax day, April 15th, 2025. So, welcome, everybody. So, today we've got a roundtable meeting. Oh, hi, Midnight. Midnight down. Got a roundtable meeting for whatever concerns, questions, sharing of successes that anyone has. Does anyone want to kick us off today? All right. And welcome, Josh. You're one of our new members here.
Good to be here.
So it's a roundtable meeting. So feel free to ask any questions you have, share successes, share struggles. So I'm still admitting folks in here. Hey, Jeff.
Hello. Wait. Hello? Hello? Yeah, my audio's
Yep,
on.
we
Great.
hear you. We hear you and see you.
How's it going?
Good. How about you?
Good. I was just hanging some art here in the library. Um, whoa. These are the rods we use. We'll hang art from the wall. Anyway, um, hanging art out in the main space and in the back office space.
Cool.
All I do is
All those other
art,
duties as assigned.
art and music and marketing. Good morning. Um, yeah, good to see everybody. Josh, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Excellent.
Happy to be here. I was happy to be invited to the group. Is this basically just a support group for all of us who do the same rough job?
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
what are you up to lately? What's on your plate lately?
Let's see. We've been tasked with increasing physical circulation by our board
Which
and
which library?
Kent District Library.
Okay.
Yep, sorry. Should have started with that.
Hey,
Uh
great.
So I'm devising new ways. We've had a string of social media shareables that have focused on, check out more than you need because you never know when you'll need it. And here's the benefits to checking out too much stuff. Um, and that's a cheeky way to do it, but we've been thinking through different ways to uh, market in such a way that people better utilize the resources we have on the shelf. One idea was, we can pay for advertising and get the library in front of more people and just remind them that we exist. Uh, Another idea was to target specific, like if somebody is searching for the newest, uh, you know, whatever book, we could pay to advertise that we have those books instead of just them going out to purchase them, get it from the library. Uh, I hate spending money, and so one idea that we had was a punch card idea, and I've not seen this. I come from retail background, so uh, libraries and library world is still I've been here for like 3 years now, and so there's a lot of stuff that I do differently than probably most library folks who are given the job of marketing. And so privacy violations and that sort of thing, I'm always pushing the envelope because I wasn't raised with the same, dedication to privacy. I think, why can we not target people with things that they'd be interested in? So that's a constant thing. But so the punch card idea is that during September through November, we would introduce this punch card where if somebody comes into the library and gets at least 10 items in one visit, then they get a punch on their punch card. Once they get a full punch card, that is an entry to win a fantastic prize. We'll award one fantastic prize each month, and you can fill up as many punch cards as you want within that month. So we're going to look into partnering with local businesses to see if they want to help us stock out that fantastic prize in exchange for a bit of marketing for them to let people know that, hey, not only can you pick up these punch cards at the library, but you can also pick them up at Business X. And so the challenge is always like, how do you speak to more than just your patrons? How do you get the library out of the library? And so that's partly where this idea comes from, but also it gives an opportunity for our frontline staff to upsell. If they see someone coming to the counter with like 8 books, they would say, hey, if you grabbed 2 more, you'd be earning a punch for your punch card. Here's 2 that I recommend right now. And they would have those, behind the desk, and see if they can get somebody to take just a little bit more and focus on the benefits. Like, hey, you can have these for up to 3 months. And so if you don't get to it right away, not a problem. So that's the general idea. But when I was doing the research to find out how to do this successfully, there was only one other library in like Lima County, Ohio, that did any sort of punch card thing during library card sign up month. And I have no idea how it worked because it was join our punch card program, but no explanation on their website. So has anyone tried something like this before? What is your feedback? I'm pitching it to managers tomorrow.
Remind me, you gotta check out 10 items in one visit to get one punch.
Yes.
You're not gonna, I don't know if you're gonna reach non-users. You're gonna reach a lot of caregivers who are checking out 20 picture books, but they're already regulars.
My original number was
Can you lower
5
that?
items, and that was what I was thinking. So that's one of the questions that I'm going to ask to managers. Should we make it 5 items?
Five,
Should we make it 10 items?
five,
Yeah.
more participation.
Makes a
Yes.
big difference for targeting families, I would say, versus adult readers as well.
I'm only
The
checking out 5.
the whole thing is going to be
Yeah.
aimed at adults. So kids on their own cards cannot participate. The adults, it's aimed at getting adults to change their checkout habits.
We do have a punch card system at West Bloomfield
Oh, nice.
that we launched. We don't advertise it very widely. We just did a soft launch of it this last December.
Okay.
It's not aimed at circulation. It's aimed at getting our new program attendance,
Okay.
increasing program attendance mostly for adult and teen programs largely.
How's that been working?
It has been, I feel like it would be easier if we did a hard launch of it, because their main goal is to reach new audiences. But of course, when you do a soft launch, you're primarily just reaching the people that are already coming in.
Right.
So I've been pushing to add it to our welcome bags for new card holders when they first register for a library card, so that they're encouraged to participate. But I can kind of like hold it up to the camera here. We just
4
have,
punches.
yep, we just have 4 punches. It's a quarterly basis. So we write on the back like what the deadline is to complete it by. You can add your name, email, phone number. We have a limit of 1 entry per person. That's kind of a reach for our people mostly. So that they've been comfortable with that. But one thing I'll add is that I did when we were researching it, stumble across research on endowed progress effect, which is when customers are nearly twice as likely to reach their loyalty incentive if they have an extra boost from the start. So if you start them off with 1 stamp on their card already, they will be more likely to complete the card.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So endowed progress effect is very interesting.
Yeah. I'm going to drop my email in the chat. So if you have stuff that you'd be willing to share with me just on how that program works, that would be awesome. What is the prize?
Yeah, ours, we partner with our local bookstore. So our Friends of the Library has purchased gift cards for the local bookstore, and we give out, it's a drawing for a $25 gift card
Okay.
for that bookstore once a quarter. So
Our initial prize is a $50 gift card to our swag store. So we're just selling them marketing materials that they can wear around and advertise the library for us.
And Paige
Trying to-
talked into the chat that she votes for 5 too,
Yeah.
Josh.
Josh, you're trying to diversify the items they check out. Are you specifying items, or are you just saying
We
get
aren't
five
specifying
items?
items, just the number. So it can be any items. It can be books, beyond books, audio. The only thing is that it has to be a physical thing, because that's what the board wants to increase is physical circ. Our digital circ is not hurting at all, and in fact, it's in many ways too big for its britches, given how beholden we are to the rates that are set by publishers. So if we can get people to start using physical books, it will actually cost the library less money for people to read the same amount.
Wait, your board wants people to keep checking out print books?
That is what the board wants.
Okay.
We have no problem selling the digital stuff. People are champing at the bit for more and more digital.
I
And
thought
we've
your
had
library
to
thinks.
limit the number of holds on digital stuff in order to make sure that it is accessible to more people and still able to function with the library funds that we have.
Yeah, but is your board looking at what isn't circing?
Um, it's weird. I don't know where this came from because all of the numbers are doing just fine. We're still, a roughly probably 55 digital, 45% physical circulation numbers, which I think are probably pretty typical. And things are doing just fine. So where they got this from that like we need to increase this, I don't know. But
Yeah.
if we can encourage people to visit the library more often and check out more things, that's not a bad deal. And honestly, if they check out 10 items and dump 9 of them into the return bin on the way out the door, that's one way to do it. It's not really the way we want them to do it. We want to increase their habits of reading repetition, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Has anyone else heard about a program like this? Thank you, Victoria, for sharing yours.
Well, Paige tossed into the chat that she had a similar idea of a bring a friend campaign during September as library card sign up month and enter into a big raffle. She previously worked at a dentist's office where they had a $500 raffle, but that's private market, not
Right.
library land.
Are there other potential problems that people see besides the initial number of 10 dropping down to 5?
The harder thing is you're preaching to the choir.
I
Right.
mean,
I
I don't
but
know.
I would put displays out in the, like near your checkout desk.
Yeah, we're gonna do displays. The whole thing, with the prizes involved, spread across our 20 branches is probably going to cost us around $600 to do. So it's not terribly expensive as a system-wide program that's um, not complicated for people to participate in. So, summer reading is super complicated to get everything, all of the stuff out there and for people to track. This is everyone understands the idea of a punch card. So I think that the bigger thing is going to be trying to get this into the community as opposed to just at the branches. And so uh, we have some great partners, movie theaters and bookstores and that sort of thing that we can use. We can call on and say, hey, would you be willing to donate to this effort in exchange for a bit of social media advertising? But that's where I really want to see this thing succeed so we can get it out from just the libraries.
I think if nothing else, you're going to see library card sign up boosts September, which is a win.
Yep. That's why we're putting it there. One,
Yep.
because it's after summer reading and before our winter reading program. This is just kind of a stopgap to get people engaged. Well, I'm happy to move on to somebody else and some other topic, but thank you for helping me think this through.
Well, good luck in your pitch tomorrow. And
yeah, thanks.
You'll have to come back and let us, once the fall is complete, let us know how it worked and if we should try it out at other libraries. So
yeah.
All right. So who else has a question for the group today?
I would like.
All right. Well, I'll kick us off. It's Laura here. So it's been just over a month since the executive order for IMLS. I know the first. Oh wait, I'll change over. Going back to Josh, Victoria popped in the chat that Hastings Public Library won a PR Exchange Award in 2023 for their Golden Sower Reading Challenge punch card. So that's something for you to look up there.
Yeah. Thank you, Victoria.
All right. So it's been a month since the IMLS executive order. I know there's lots going on. Library of Michigan, lots going on legally. I know the first hearing on that case brought by, including Michigan's Attorney General, is this Friday. But what so far has worked for people for advertising about, because the general public sees IMLS and is like, what is that? And could care less. But it does affect Melcat, as we all know. Has anyone found success in sharing that message down so far?
Has anyone found success in having their directors or board be approving of what you can say?
Yeah, mine's at legal at the moment, so.
Because
we've been moving forward with ours. So we're putting out the bookmarks that I shared in Mel holds, and we've communicated similar language with our patrons on our monthly newsletter. Our highlights newsletter, it's going to be in our All About Booksy newsletter, which goes out to specifically our big readers in our community, our power readers. And then I'm working right now on an article for our print newsletter that will be on the front page of that this summer. We have a community that's very concerned about it. And has already been asking us a lot of questions about it. So just trying to answer those and avoid having too much of that burden placed on frontline staff.
We did an email targeted to Mel users within our system to let them know how this will affect them, how, where the money goes, how well those services are utilized within our system, focusing primarily on not just the issue at large, but like how will it affect you? And that's been pretty successful. The big fear is, we don't want to cast doom and gloom on something before it is settled out. And so that's been the hesitation at the leadership team level, just knowing where to draw the line between enough information and too much information that's scary. So fortunately or unfortunately, it will affect our system less because of our structure and size, but it will make it a lot harder for our patrons to find out of print and older materials that we rely on smaller libraries to supplement.
And not to put Adam on the spot, but I see Adam just joined us from the Library of Michigan. Not sure if you're able to give us any updates on what's going on.
No pressure,
on the
Adam.
library side.
Yeah, I just show up and all of a sudden, bang, Adam's here.
Yep. Hey, you're popular, Adam. We all love you.
Look, the party line of what we're going on right now is that we still don't know
Okay.
anything more than what was already put out in the press release that we put out on the 20th in March. There has been like the rumor mill is certainly going,
Mhm.
that, and I know I've heard that like three states, what was it? Washington, California, and I forget the other one that are not receiving IMLS funding. Um, but beyond that, there has been nothing more that has been said, of what's going to impact Michigan, if and yeah, here at the Library of Michigan, we're certainly like planning for whatever contingencies that we can and how that is all going to play out. But for now, it's the waiting game. I know the one thing that um hopefully by the end of this week we'll hear from is that the lawsuit that was filed by the 21 attorney generals, which Michigan is included on, there the Department of Justice was supposed to respond to that lawsuit, I believe this week, and that hopefully by the end of this week there's at least some movement on that. What that's going to result in, I don't know. But at least there is, the timeline for that is that there should be something going on related to it soon. But that's all in the Department of the Attorney General's hands and not with us or the Department of Education. So yeah. But like if anybody contacts us, we basically say to them, we're in a holding pattern right now. We're waiting to see what happens. Randy actually had been about to go on to an interview yesterday, and then the Attorney General's office had advised not doing that. So if the media contacts us about it, we're not even, going taking interviews on that kind of subject.
Well, thank you for sharing the party line.
Yeah, and if people haven't read the press release, I'm gonna quick find it here a second and put it in the chat because it does give a pretty good breakdown of, what does IMLS funding go to in Michigan. It certainly goes to, Mel and Melcat. But if you're looking for other things to talk about with um if patrons are asking, it does go into like, those other small and medium-sized grants, the, technology support, other things like that, that are also part of that as well.
Yeah, we do. Michigan does a lot with the IMLS funds.
Yeah,
So
it's like 4.7 or $4.8 million, I think is what we were receiving this year. And it's yeah, we make a lot of things happen with just think if we had another $1 million more beyond that with much more that we could do.
mhm.
I'll add too, I've been in conversation with Claire at Library of Michigan, a bit about just the line between advocacy and informational materials from the library marketing front. She is working on an info sheet or memo on advocacy and informational materials for libraries. So it sounds like she'll have that out this week.
Oh, that's good. Claire, I love Claire. She can break stuff down, break those legal terms down to like where I can understand it. So yeah, 'cause it's one
Yeah,
of
we're
those like
reverting. We just went through our millage campaign last fall, and we didn't have any like yes or no campaigns in our community. We were just putting out informational materials through the library as was permitted. So our staff is pretty familiar already about some of the lines there at least.
Yeah, it's good to know. But like I remember Claire said in that email responding to your example there, it's a what is it, a thin gray line there. So
Yes. Well, and I mean, it's all based, as
yeah.
my understanding, largely on interpretation of the law,
Mhm.
and within the court system. So there can be gaps in our knowledge. And I think a lot of libraries tend to run on the conservative side of that just to be safe.
But I will certainly take it any guidance from Claire. So has anyone else been doing anything on that front that they can share?
I will say I've also just been like collecting information on members of our community as they reach out to us about their experiences. Because it doesn't hurt to have some stories in your back pocket.
Yep.
Can we talk about that in general for a moment? Because I love patron stories, and love when our frontline staff collects those in natural ways where, they'll be talking to a patron and say, "Hey, can I write this down and send it to our marketing people, and they can use it on social media, etc." Uh, but the frontline staff almost never does that, and so I've thought about different ways to solicit those kind of stories, and just asking for them on social media is a decent way to do it. But has anyone had any success with like setting up a table in the library and said, tell me your story, that sort of thing? Because
Um,
I feel like most people are too busy to want to take the time to do that.
I can speak to that a little bit. This year, our library is having their 50th anniversary, and at each of the reference and circulation desks, we put these little glass jars like a suggestion box, but instead of a suggestion box, they have little papers next to them that say share your favorite library memory. And each week we draw one. We take a photo, feature it on social media. We blank out anything because we do ask them to put like their name and a way to contact them because we're giving away swag for our 50th anniversary. So we've got little stuff we made with our sublimation printer, our laser engraver. So they share their stories, and when they do that, they have a chance to win something from us. And we've had honestly kind of an overwhelming response because I keep having to take papers out of the jars because they're too full to put more paper into. And for National Library Week last week, I was sharing one or more every single day, just trying to work through the stack of them that I
Wow,
have.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I agree what Paige put in the chat. That's a gold mine.
Yeah.
I think people like it too because it's kind of on their own terms. They can walk past, they can see the thing, they can write it down. We do have people who've submitted anonymously, and if I post one of those, I'll say in the caption, just if this was yours and you want some swag, message us. And we've had a few people do it that way as well. So
Heather, what library system is that?
we're the White Lake Township Library.
Okay.
I know it's not quite the full story, but we celebrated a year and a half ago our 20th anniversary in our current building, and we just put up a big board and said, "Let us know why you love the library." So we didn't have names attached to it, but then we just had little book-shaped post-it notes there, and people would fill that out. And some of them were very cute, just kids scribbles, and then some were I love this program, or this that you have this tons of urban fiction books, or whatever it was. So they were just little short snippets.
I'll pop our social media into the chat so that you guys can take a look and see some of the stuff we've posted so you can kind of get an idea of what people have shared with us. The kids desk has the cutest notes. I share a lot of notes from the kids desk because I just love seeing what they love.
We don't have any giveaways at West Bloomfield for providing testimonials, not like a publicized one. For really nice testimonials, we do, our director writes a thank you letter and we mail that to them with a little, it's like a branded eyeglass cleaner because it's very lightweight. And I have a spreadsheet that I collect all their testimonials on. So and I add some keywords to that, so it's very easy for me to just search through and find quotes related to things that we're interested in for a particular article. And I can follow up with people if needed. And we tend to find, because I have a web page for sharing your story with us as well, a web form. But the physical stuff, like having our frontline staff empowered and aware of our drive for collecting testimonials, has been the most beneficial thing because when somebody says something nice to them, our staff feels empowered to hand them this little sheet. And on the sheet, we have a check that says that they're okay having us use their whatever stories they share as far as our marketing material goes. And so if they check that off, I know that I'm good to use that material wherever I want to.
I say that's a great idea to put on there right away that you can use it. So right. Who else has any questions? How's summer reading going for everybody? Everybody got it fully planned out?
Programming, yeah. We're all set.
I'm going on maternity leave this summer, so I'm kind of just hoping that everything works out for staff in my absence.
Well, congratulations to you. And don't think about the library while you're off. Other than, to come to story time. So
Not sure there'll be space in my head for that. We'll see.
yeah.
Since summer is hopefully fully planned for everybody, is who is currently looking at fall programming right now?
Oh, we are.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if there would be any interest in one thing that we've done as Kent District Library. We host the Right Michigan program, which is everyone here familiar with Right Michigan? It's a short story contest that is for anyone who lives in Michigan, not just within our own boundaries. And so the winners can come from anywhere. Last year we partnered with Traverse Area District Library and Superior District Library in the UP. And we had like over 1,000 stories. I'd be happy to, if anyone is interested in having low-hanging fruit to support your local writers through Right Michigan. We can't pay for any advertising in your area, but I'd be happy to send along supplies and materials if you have writers groups that meet in the library and would be interested. They'd be interested in getting published in an anthology and possibly earning some prize money. So I was just curious. Your programming wouldn't have to relate to that, but it's a passive thing that you could put out if you were interested.
Certainly. I'd say, yeah, if you could share that to the, the
Yeah,
listserv.
Sure.
I certainly know a couple of writers groups that, I could share that too.
Yeah, we're going to be cutting back on what we spend for advertising it statewide,
Mhm.
just because of the way things are right now. And so we'll have less money available for stuff outside of our system. Um, but we still want writers to come from all over Michigan if possible. Last year we had submissions from 293 different zip codes within Michigan, which is about a quarter of the state. And I'd love to see that number increase, but I can't pay for that.
Yep, I think that this is a perfect thing for like this group, share it out.
Yeah,
Especially, ready-made programming. Yay. You did the hard work for us, so
right. But I don't want to step on anyone's toes if they already have like a writing competition type thing going on. Does anyone have that within their system?
We have a writers group, and then we host a write-in on National Novel Writing Month.
Okay. Yeah, we've been curious if there are ways that we could work together with Library Michigan about this as well. So, Adam, I might be contacting you to help me get the word out.
Well, if you don't already have my email address, I can get it to
Yeah,
you.
and Barbara popped in the chat that she's at Hastings that they have a poetry writing competition.
awesome.
Yeah, I should say that this week is the first week of Michigan Notable Book Author Tour stops. So I know
How exciting. You should go on a podcast about that.
I was on a podcast. It was a great podcast.
Great.
They gave a
Coming
lot
out
of time
tomorrow.
to talk about it. The hosts were awesome.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, so if you haven't looked yet, on the notable books page, in fact, there was one date that I just got the final info for that I'm putting up right now that's going to be at Dickinson Library at the end of June. But we've got most of the areas in the state pretty well covered. So if you're hosting one of them, awesome. If you're not one of the hosts, check out to see which ones are by you, because we've got a lot of good authors that are hitting the road between now and June to talk about their Michigan Notable Book selections.
I say that's one of the coolest programs.
Yeah, it's fun to work on. I know for a couple of us it can be a little bit like you get the map up of the applicants and you're trying to pair who can go with where that ends up being like a 3 to 4 hour like draft pick type process. So it's not like I've ever worked for a sports team that had to do draft picks, but man, I feel like I've got a little glimpse of it from what it is that we have to do for picking the notable book locations.
Are are all the Michigan humanities grants still frozen?
I believe so. I haven't heard anything more. I know they said for the Great Michigan Read, because we were going to be helping promote those programs related to that, we were told stop. Um, and nothing else has been said. I know a few of the humanities staff should be at night for notables, and so I'll probably get a chance to talk with them to see what their status is. But last I had heard, it was like 90% of their funding was cut.
Yeah.
And they also had the uh head of humanities was on stateside not that long ago. So if you look for that interview, you're probably going to find some more details.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else have any questions for the group today?
Curious with library cards. We are reaching our 25-year anniversary for both our buildings. Our library system is much older than that, but it's been a long topic of conversation since we have a lot of infrastructure projects that we'll be doing over the next few years. We have been talking about a lot of different ways to celebrate the 25-year anniversary of the buildings. Of course, like social media campaigns, things like that. But one of the ideas that we were toying with was possibly doing like a metallic card for Friends members or something along those lines for our silver anniversary. I don't know if this is something anybody else has looked into or has any experience in, but it's something that we've been plopping around.
So one thing that we did as part of it was an April Fool's thing last year. We introduced instead of 100 or 1,000 books before kindergarten, we did 100,000 books before age 100, and that it's a ludicrous number of books. We said anyone who read 100,000 books before they turn 100 gets a gold library card. And so we went through like one of the sticker companies, Sticker Giant or Sticker Mule or one of those, and got these metallic stickers that stick right over top of a person's card. It's the same size. You just have to line it up right. And it actually reinforces the plastic card and makes it so that they don't have to change their library number. That was the big challenge. We have so many people are like, I love the new card, but I don't want to lose my number because I have it memorized. And so this was a halfway solution to where we could still do something cool and metallic and tell people, get your gold library card while not having to have them lose their number.
Do you guys see a lot of interest in that too?
It was a flash in the pan. It was hot for a little bit, but if it's you're celebrating an anniversary, it could be a similar type idea.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go hot and heavy on them.
Okay. And do the stickers seem to stick pretty well on those?
They do.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've heard anecdotal evidence that people's cards are lasting longer because they're just a little bit thicker and reinforced now, so less wear and tear in the wallet.
Thank you.
And Victoria, for our 20th building anniversary, we actually ran a library card design contest. So we had
Yeah, we just did one of those last year and we're kind of tired from it. So
yeah, you don't want to do it. Yeah. I was gonna say I'm good with that for at least 5 years now before I broach that topic again. So
yeah.
but I like the idea of a sticker because like even the reason I didn't get one of the new design cards is I have my number memorized and I don't want to memorize another number. So right. Anyone else have anything else for the group this month before we wrap it up? If not, our next meeting is going to be on Tuesday, May the 20th. And hopefully be warm outside and we'll have all the flowers in bloom. So wish everybody a good month till then. And if you got anything in the meantime, pop it up on the listserv. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, everybody.
Yes. Yes, midnight.